The book of Asher, we're going over the first 10 chapters. The book that is written in the King James Version in Joshua 10:13, where it says, "Is it not written in the book of Asher?" And also the book of Asher is mentioned in 2 Samuel as well, 1:18, where it says, "Behold, it is written in the book of Asher." So we're going to go over the book of Asher, the first 10 chapters. Chapter 1 talks about the creation of Adam and Eve, the fall, birth of Cain and Abel, Abel a keeper of sheep, Cain a tiller of the soil, the quarrel between the brothers, and the result, Cain the first murderer, cursed of God. And chapter 2 goes over Seth is born, people begin to multiply and become idolatrous, third part of the earth destroyed, earth cursed and becomes corrupt through the wickedness of men. In Canaan, a wise and righteous king foretells the flood. Enoch is born. Chapter 3 goes over Enoch reigns over the earth. Enoch established righteousness upon the earth, and after reigning 240 years is translated. Chapter 4 talks about the people of the earth again become corrupt. Noah is born. Chapter 5 talks about Noah and Methuselah preach repentance for 120 years. Noah builds the ark. Death and Methuselah. Chapter 6 talks about the animals, beasts, and fowls preserved in the ark, Noah and his sons, and the wives are shut in. When the flood comes, the people want to get in. Noah 1 year in the ark. Chapter 7 talk about the generation of Noah, the garments of skin made for Adam stolen by Ham, and the descent to Nimrod. Nimrod, the mighty hunter, becomes the king of the whole earth. The birth of Abram. Chapter 8 talks about the wise men. Nimrod, by the division, foretell the evil that Abram will do to Nimrod kingdom, and they seek to kill the child Abram, and his mother and nurse are hid in the cave for 10 years. Chapter 9 talks about when 10 years old, Abram goes to Noah, and Shem remains with them for 39 years and is taught in all the world about Ahiah, the wickedness of Nimrod and his people, the purpose to build a tower to heaven and dethrone mighty God, Ahiah, the confusion of the tongues. And chapter 10 talks about the descendants of Noah scattered over the whole earth and builds themselves cities. So here we are, we're going to go into chapter 1. And mighty God Ahiah said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." And mighty God Ahiah created man in his own image. And mighty God Ahiah formed man from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils and the breath of life, and man became a living soul, endowed with speech. And Ahiah said, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmeet." And Ahiah caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and took away one rib of his rib, and he built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, "This is bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for this has been taken from man." And Adam called her name Eve, for she was the mother of all living. And mighty God Ahiah blessed them, and called their names Adam and Eve in the day that they were created them. And mighty God Ahiah said, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." And mighty God Ahiah took Adam and his wife, and he placed them in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And he commanded them and said unto them, "From every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat thereof you shall surely die." And when mighty God Ahiah had blessed and commanded them, he went from them, and Adam and his wife dwelt in the garden according to the commands which mighty God Ahiah had commanded them. And the serpent which mighty God Ahiah had created with them in the earth came to them to incite them to transgress the command of mighty God Ahiah, which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge, and the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent, and she transgressed the word of mighty God Ahiah, and took from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and she ate, and she took from it and gave also to her husband, and he ate. And Adam and his wife transgressed the command of mighty God Ahiah, which he commanded them, and mighty God Ahiah knew it, and his anger was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And mighty God Ahiah drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which they were taken, and they went and dwelt at the east of the garden. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from mighty God Ahiah. And the name of the other she called Abel, for she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to mighty God Ahiah. And Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. And mighty God Ahiah turned and inclined to Abel and his offering, and a fire came down from mighty God Ahiah from heaven and consumed it. And unto Cain and his offering mighty God Ahiah did not turn, and he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before mighty God Ahiah. And Cain was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this, and he sought to pretext to slay him. And in some time after, Cain and Abel his brother went one day into the field to do their work, and they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Abel feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and is sorely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger, and said unto him, What is there between me and thee, that thou comest to dwell and bring thy flock to feed in my land? And Abel answered his brother Cain, and said unto him, What is it there between me and thee, that thou should eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe thyself with their wool? And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep, in which thou hast clothed thyself, and recompense me for their fruit and flesh which thou hast eaten. And when thou shalt have done this, I will then go from thy land, and as thou hast said. And Cain said to his brother Abel, Surely if I slay thee this day, who will require thy blood from me? And Abel answered Cain, saying, Surely mighty God Ahiah, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from thee, shouldest thou slay me. For mighty God Ahiah is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will requite man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he do upon the earth. And now if thou shouldest slay me here, surely mighty God Ahiah knoweth thy secret views, and will judge thee for the evil which thou didst declare to do unto me this day. And when Cain heard the words which Abel his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Abel for declaring this thing. And Cain hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Cain split the blood of his brother Abel upon the earth, and the blood of Abel streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this Cain repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And mighty God Ahiah knew what Cain had done to his brother. And mighty God Ahiah appeared to Cain, and said unto him, Where is Abel thy brother that was with thee? And Cain dissembled and said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And mighty God Ahiah said unto him, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother blood cried unto me from the ground where thou hast slain him. For thou hast slain thy brother, and hast dissembled before me, and didst imagine in thy heart that I saw thee not, nor knew all thy actions. But thou didst this thing, and didst slay thy brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to thee. And now therefore cursed be thou from the ground which opened its mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand, and wherein thou didst bury him. And it shall be, when thou shalt till it, it shall no more give thee its strength as in the beginning. For thorns and thistles shall the ground produce, and thou shalt be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of thy death, like a vagabond. And at that time Cain went out from the presence of mighty God Ahiah, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land toward the east of Eden, and he and all belonging to him. And Cain knew his wife in those days, and she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Enoch, saying, in that time mighty God Ahiah began to give him rest and quiet in the earth. And at that time Cain also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Enoch, according to the name of his son. For in those days mighty God Ahiah had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about the wonder as in the beginning. And Irad was born to Enoch, and Irad begat Mishael, and Mishael begat Methuselah. So the names of Cain children and the names of Abel and Seth children, they sound almost exactly alike, but they are different. So you will hear me say like Enoch and some of the names that the promised seed has, but they're two different families. So we're getting into chapter 2. And it was in the 130th year of the life of Adam upon the earth that he again knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare a son in the likeness and in his image, and she called his name Seth, saying, because mighty God Ahiah has appointed me another seed in the place of Abel, for Cain has slain him. And Seth lived 105 years, and he begat a son, and Seth called the name of his son Enosh, saying, because in that time the Son of Men began to multiply and to afflict their souls and hearts by transgressing and rebelling against mighty God Ahiah. And it was in the days of Enosh that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against mighty God Ahiah, to increase the anger of mighty God Ahiah against the sons of men. And the sons of men went and they served other gods, and they forgot mighty God Ahiah, who had created them in the earth. And in those days the sons of men made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every man made his god, and they bowed down to them. And the sons of men forsook mighty God Ahiah all the days of Enosh and his children, and the anger of mighty God Ahiah was kindled on account of their works and abominations which they did in the earth. And mighty God Ahiah caused the waters of the rivers Gihon to overwhelm them, and he destroyed and consumed them, and he destroyed the third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of mighty God Ahiah. And in those days there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of men, and the famine was very great in those days. And the seed which sowed in those days in the ground became thorns and thistles and briars. For from the days of Adam was this declaration concerning the earth, of the curse of mighty God Ahiah, which he cursed the earth on account of the sin which Adam sinned before mighty God Ahiah. And it was when men continued to rebel and transgress against mighty God Ahiah, and to corrupt their ways, that the earth also became corrupt. And Enosh lived 90 years, and he begat Canaan. And Canaan grew up, and he was 40 years old, and he became wise, and had knowledge and skill in all wisdom, and he reigned over all the sons of men, and he led the sons of men to wisdom and knowledge. For Canaan was a very wise man, and had understanding in all wisdom, and with his wisdom he ruled over spirits and demons. And Canaan knew by his wisdom that mighty God Ahiah would destroy the sons of men for having sinned upon the earth, and mighty God Ahiah would in the latter days bring upon them the waters of the flood. And in those days Canaan wrote upon tablets of stone what was to take place in the time to come, and he put them in his treasures. And Canaan reigned over the whole earth, and he turned some of the sons of men to service of mighty God Ahiah. And when Canaan was 70 years old, he begat 3 sons and 2 daughters. And these are the names of the children of Canaan. The name of the firstborn, Mahalalel; the second, Enan; the third, Mered; and their sisters were Ada and Zillah. These are the 5 children of Canaan that were born to him. And Lamech, the son of Methuselah, became related to Canaan by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his wives, and Ada conceived and bare a son to Lamech, and she called his name Jabal. And she again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Jubal. And Zillah, her sister, was barren in those days, and had no offspring. For in those days the Son of Men began to transgress against mighty God Ahiah, and to transgress the commandments which he had commanded to Adam, to be fruitful and to multiply in the earth. And some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink and draught that would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figure, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade. And when the sons of men caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them. And the childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands as widows, whilst their husbands lived, for to the barren ones only they were attached. And in the end of the days and years, when Zillah became old, mighty God Ahiah opened her womb. And she conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Tubal. Cain saying, After I had withered away, have I obtained him from the mighty God Ahiah. And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and she called her name Naamah. For she said, After I had withered away, have I obtained pleasure and delight. And Lamech was old and advanced in years, and his eyes were dim, that he could not see. And Tubal, Cain his son, was leading him. And it was one day that Lamech went into the field, and Tubal, Cain his son, was with him. And whilst they were walking in the field, Cain the son of Adam advanced toward them, for Lamech was very old and could not see much, and Tubal, Cain his son, was very young. And Tubal, Cain told his father to draw his bow, and with the arrows he smote Cain, who was yet far off, and he slew him, for he appeared to them to be an animal. And the arrows entered Cain's body, although he was distant from them, and he fell to the ground and died. And mighty God Ahiah requited Cain's evil according to his wickedness, which he had done to his brother Abel, according to the word of mighty God Ahiah which he had spoken. And it came to pass, when Cain had died, that Lamech and Tubal went to see the animal which they had slain, and they saw, and behold, Cain their grandfather was fallen dead upon the earth. And Lamech was very much grieved at having done this, and in clapping his hands together he struck his son and caused his death. And the wives of Lamech heard what Lamech had done, and they sought to kill him. And the wives of Lamech hated him from that day, because he slew Cain and Tubal Cain. And the wives of Lamech separated from him, and would not hearken to him in those days. And Lamech came to his wives, and he pressed them to listen to him about this matter. And he said to his wives Ada and Zillah, Hear my voice, O wives of Lamech. Attend to my words, for now you have imagined that said that I slew a man with my wounds, and a child with my stripes, for their having done no violence. But surely know that I am old and gray-headed, and that my eyes are heavy through age, and I did this thing unknowingly. And the wives of Lamech listened to him in this matter, and they returned to him with the advice of their father Adam, but they bore no children to him from that time, knowing that mighty God Ahiah's anger was increasing in those days against the sons of men, to destroy them with the waters of the flood for their evil doings. And Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, lived 65 years, and he begat Jared. And Jared lived 62 years, and he begat Enoch. Chapter 3. And Enoch lived 65 years, and he begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with mighty God Ahiah after having begot Methuselah, and he served mighty God Ahiah and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of mighty God Ahiah, in knowledge and in understanding, and he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. Secreted himself from them for many days. And it was at the expiration of many years, whilst he was serving mighty God Ahiah and praying before him in his house, that an angel of mighty God Ahiah called to him from heaven, and he said, Here am I. And he said, Rise, go forth from thy house, and from the place where thou dost hide thyself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that they mayest teach them the way in which they should go, and the work which they must accomplish to enter in the ways of mighty God Ahiah. And Enoch rose up according to the word of mighty God Ahiah, and he went forth from his house, from his place, and from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men, and taught them the ways of mighty God Ahiah. And at that time assembled the sons of men, and acquainted them with the instructions of mighty God Ahiah. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of mighty God Ahiah and good works? Let him come to Enoch. And all the sons of men then assembled to him, for all who desired this thing went to Enoch, and Enoch reigned over the sons of men, according to the word of mighty God Ahiah, and they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. The spirit of mighty God Ahiah was upon Enoch, and he taught all his men the wisdom of mighty God Ahiah and his ways, and the sons of men served mighty God Ahiah all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom, and they bowed down to him, and they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of mighty God Ahiah, and he made peace among them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the way of mighty God Ahiah. And these are the generations of Enoch: Methuselah, Elisha, Elimelech, 3 sons, and their sisters were Melchah, Naamah, and Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begat Lamech. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech, which Adam died, 930 years old, was he at his death, and his 2 sons with Enoch and Methuselah his son buried him with great pomp, as at the burial of kings, in the cave which mighty God Ahiah had told them. And in the place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on the account of Adam, and it has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, and he and his children after him, as mighty God Ahiah had spoken. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was the 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, and to secret himself as at first, in order to serve mighty God Ahiah. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. And during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised mighty God Ahiah, his mighty God. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the ways of mighty God Ahiah. And all they asked him about Ahiah, he told them. And he did in this manner for many years, and he afterward concealed himself for 6 days, and appeared to his people 1 day in 7. And after that once in a month, and then once in a year, until all the kings, princes, and sons of men sought for him, and desired again to see the face of Enoch, and to hear his word, but they could not, as all the sons of men were greatly afraid of Enoch, and they feared to approach him on account of the godlike awe that was seated upon his countenance. Therefore no man could look at him, fearing he might be punished, and died. And all the kings and princes resolved to assemble the sons of men and to come to Enoch, thinking that they might all speak to him at the time when he should come forth amongst them, and they did so. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them the word of mighty God Ahiah, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, May the king live, may the king live. And in some time after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of mighty God Ahiah, behold, an angel of mighty God Ahiah then called unto Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven, to make him reign there over the sons of mighty God Ahiah, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instructions. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now therefore I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and will give you instruction before I leave you, how to act upon the earth, whereby you may live. And he did so. And he taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them instruction, and he reproved them, and he placed before them statutes and judgments to do upon the earth, and he made peace among them, and he taught them everlasting life, and dwelt with them sometime, teaching them all these things. And at the time the sons of men were with Enoch, and Enoch was speaking to them, and they lifted up their eyes, and the likeness of a great horse descended from heaven, and the horse paced in the air. And they told Enoch that they had seen, and Enoch said to them, On my account does this horse descend upon the earth. The time is come when I must go from you, and I shall no more be seen by you. And the horse descended at that time, and stood before Enoch, and all the sons of men that were with Enoch saw him. And Enoch then again ordered a voice to be proclaimed, saying, Where is the man who delighted to know the ways of mighty God Ahiah, his God? Let him come this day to Enoch before he is taken from us. And all the sons of men assembled and came to Enoch that day, and all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Enoch then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction. And he bade them to serve mighty God Ahiah, and walk in his ways all the days of their lives. And he continued to make peace among them. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon the horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. And the second day he said to them, Return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die. And some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journey. And Enoch said to them, Every day return to your tents, lest you may die. But they were not willing to return, and they went with him. And on the 6th day some of the men remained and clung to him, and they said to him, We will go with thee to the place where thou goest. As mighty God Ahiah liveth, death only shall separate us. And they urged so much to go with him that he ceased speaking to them, and they went after him and would not return. And when the kings returned, they caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of the remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariots of fire. And on that 8th day all the kings that had been with Enoch sent to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in the place from which he ascended into heaven. And all those kings went to the place, and they found the earth there filled with snow, and upon the snow were large stones of snow. And on one said to the other, Come, let us break through the snow, and see, perhaps the men that remain with Enoch are dead, and are now under the stones of snow. And they searched but could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. We're going to actually stop at chapter 5. So we're going to start with chapter 4 now, because these chapters are a little bit long and we don't want you to lose interest. So we're going to stop at chapter 5. We're going to do 5 chapters at a time. Chapter 4. All the days that Enoch lived upon earth were 365 years. And Enoch had ascended into heaven. All the kings of the earth rose and took Methuselah his son and anointed him, and they caused him to reign over them in the place of his father. And Methuselah acted uprightly in the sight of mighty God Ahiah at his father Enoch, and had taught him, and he likewise during the whole of his life taught the sons of men wisdom, knowledge, and feared mighty God Ahiah, and he did not turn from the good way, either to the right or to the left. But in the latter days of Methuselah the sons of men turned from mighty God Ahiah. They corrupted the earth, they robbed and plundered each other, and they rebelled against mighty God Ahiah, and they transgressed, and they corrupted their way, and would not hearken to the voice of Methuselah, but rebelled against him. And mighty God Ahiah was exceedingly wroth against them, and mighty God Ahiah continued to destroy the seed in those days, so that there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth. But when they sowed the ground in order that they might obtain food for their support, but thorns and thistles were produced which they did not sow. And still the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were still extended to do evil in the sight of mighty God Ahiah, and they provoked mighty God Ahiah with their evil ways. And mighty God Ahiah was very wroth, and repented that he had made them. And he thought to destroy and annihilate them, and he did so. And in those days where Lamech the son of Methuselah was 160 years old, Seth the son of Adam died. And all the days that Seth lived were 912 years, and he died. And Lamech was 180 years old when he took Ashuma, the daughter of Elisha, the son of Enoch, his uncle, and she conceived. And at that time the sons of men sowed the ground, and a little food was produced. Yet the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and they trespassed and rebelled against mighty God Ahiah. And the wife of Lamech conceived and bare him a son at that time at the revolution of the year. And Methuselah called his name Noah, saying the earth was in his days at rest and free from corruption. And Lamech his father called his name Menachem, saying, This one shall comfort us in our work and miserable toil in the earth which mighty God Ahiah had cursed. And the child grew up and was weaned, and he went in the ways of his father Methuselah, perfect and upright with mighty God Ahiah. All the sons of men departed from the ways of mighty God Ahiah in those days, as they multiplied upon the face of the earth with sons and daughters, and they taught one another their evil practices, and they continued sinning against mighty God Ahiah. And every man made unto himself a god, and they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative, and they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men, and took them their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they taught the mixture of animals of one species with another, in order therewith to provoke mighty God Ahiah. And mighty God Ahiah saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his ways upon earth, all men and all animals. And mighty God Ahiah said, I will blot out man that I created from the face of the earth, yea, from man to the birds of the air, together with the cattle and beasts that are in the field, for I repent that I made them. And all men who walked in the ways of mighty God Ahiah died in those days, before mighty God Ahiah brought the evil upon the earth. And mighty God, we're going to back that up again. And all the men who walked in the ways of mighty God Ahiah died in those days before mighty God Ahiah brought the evil upon man which he had declared. For this was from mighty God Ahiah, that they should not see the evil which mighty God Ahiah spoke of concerning the sons of men. And Noah found grace in the sight of mighty God Ahiah, and mighty God Ahiah chose him and his children to raise up seed from them upon the face of the earth. Chapter 5. And it was in the 84th year of the life of Noah that Enoch the son of Seth died. He was 905 years old at his death. And in the 179th year of the life of Noah, Canaan the son of Enosh died, and all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And in the 234th year of the life of Noah, Mahalalel the son of Canaan died, and the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared the son of Mahalalel died in those days, and in 336th year of the life of Noah, and all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And all who followed mighty God Ahiah died in those days before they saw the evil which mighty God Ahiah declared to do upon the earth. And after the lapse of many years, in the 480th year of the life of Noah, when all those men who followed mighty God Ahiah had died away from amongst the sons of men, and only Methuselah was left, mighty God Ahiah said unto Noah and Methuselah, saying, Speak you and proclaim to the sons of men, saying, Thus says mighty God Ahiah, return from your evil ways and forsake your works, and mighty God Ahiah will repent of the evil that he declared to do to you, so that it shall not come to pass. But thus says mighty God Ahiah, Behold, I give you a period of 120 years. If you will turn to me and forsake your evil ways, then will I also turn away from the evil which I told you, and shall not exist, said mighty God Ahiah. And Noah and Methuselah spoke all the words of mighty God Ahiah to the sons of men, day after day, constantly speaking to them. But the sons of men would not hearken to them, nor incline their ears to their words, and they were stiff-necked. And mighty God Ahiah granted them a period of 120 years, saying, If they will return, then will mighty God Ahiah repent of the evil, so as not to destroy the earth. Noah the son of Lamech refrained from taking a wife in those days to beget children, for he said, Surely now mighty God Ahiah will destroy the earth, wherefore then shall I beget children? And Noah was a just man, he was perfect in his generation, and mighty God Ahiah chose him to raise up seed from his seed upon the face of the earth. And mighty God Ahiah said unto Noah, Take unto thee a wife, and beget children, for I have seen the righteous before me in this generation. And thou shalt raise up seed, and thy children with thee in the midst of the earth. And Noah went and took a wife, and he chose Naamah the daughter of Enoch, and she was 580 years old. And Noah was 498 years old when he took Naamah for a wife. And Naamah conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Japheth, saying, Mighty God Ahiah has enlarged me in the earth. She conceived again and bare a son, and called his name Shem, saying, Mighty God Ahiah has made me a remnant to raise up seed in the midst of the earth. And Noah was 502 years old when Naamah bare Shem, and the boys grew up and went in the ways of mighty God Ahiah, in all that Methuselah and Noah their father taught them. And Lamech the father of Noah died in those days, yet verily he did not go with all his heart in the ways of his father, and he died in the 195th year of his life of Noah. And all the days of Lamech were 770 years, and he died. And all the sons of men who knew mighty God Ahiah died in that year before mighty God Ahiah brought evil upon them. For mighty God Ahiah willed them to die, so as not to behold the evil that mighty God Ahiah would bring upon their brothers and relatives, as he had so declared to do. In that time, mighty God Ahijah said to Noah and Methuselah, stand forth and proclaim to the sons of men all the words that I spoke to you in those days. Peradventure they may turn from their evil ways, and I will then repent of the evil and will not bring it. And Noah and Methuselah stood forth and said in the ears of the sons of men all that mighty God Ahijah had spoken concerning them. But the sons of men would not hearken, neither would they incline their ears to all their declarations. And it was after this that mighty God Ahijah said to Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, on account of their evil deeds, and behold, I will destroy the earth. And do thou take unto thee gopher wood, and go to a certain place, and make a large ark, and place it in that spot. And thus shalt thou make it 300 cubits in length, 50 cubits broad, and 30 cubits high. And thou shalt make unto thee a door open at its side, and to a cubit thou shalt finish above, and cover it within and without with pitch. And behold, I will bring the flood of waters upon the earth, and all flesh be destroyed. From under the heavens all that is upon the earth shall perish. And thou and thy household shall go and gather 2 couple of all living things, male and female, and shall bring them to the ark to raise up seed from them upon the earth. And gather unto thee all food that is eaten by all the animals, that there may be food for thee and for them. And thou shalt choose for thy sons 3 maidens from the daughters of men, and they shall be wives to thy sons. And Noah rose up, and he made the ark in the place where God, mighty God Ahijah, had commanded him. And Noah did as mighty God Ahijah had ordered him. And in 595th year Noah commenced to make the ark, and he made the ark in 5 years, as mighty God Ahijah had commanded. Then Noah took the 3 daughters of Eliakim, son of Methuselah, for wives for his sons, as mighty God Ahijah had commanded Noah. And it was at that time Methuselah the son of Enoch died, 960 years old was he at his death. And that's the end of chapter 5, and we're going to stop at that. We will continue with chapter 6 through 10 tomorrow. Thank you for listening.